All right, next vid on this Illustrator project is shadows. So I have
by giving her a hug.
Oh, good,
And
honey.
also,
This is my daughter.
and also, I'm beeping room service.
All right. Hey, listen. Listen. Gertie, look at me. When things get bad, family is the only thing you got. Save a seat for her on the bus. Okay. Okay, anyway, what was I saying? So, you can see my guy looks way different. Am I doing this right? Yes. I've added so much stuff. I got some shadows. I got this blue background. So let me go back and tell you like how I did it. Okay. First of all, the blue background isn't necessary if you don't want it to be. I turned off all of the little swatches I had, just turned off the eyeballs. You could also erase them or whatever. I made a new layer on top of my colors called shadow. Okay, obviously on top because it's got to go on top of the colors. Now the dude in the video, he does a whole lot more. So if you want to know more about this, go ahead and check that out. All I did was I made a bunch of shapes. Okay, so let me show you what the shapes originally would have looked like. I'm gonna unlock this layer. Oh yeah, and always lock the things that you don't want changed, right? So I just unlocked the shadows because I had it locked because it was done. Okay, so when I'm looking at the shadows right here, you can see that I've got the opacity set to 66%. And obviously no stroke, and the fill is black. So this is what it looked like when I finished it. All right. So then what I did, and I did it exactly like the guy said, and this part of his directions 100% worked.
It looks really good.
Thank you, honey. I used the top left-hand arrow up here. It's a selection tool. I dragged it across the whole person thing, whatever it is. And instead of changing the opacity while it's in separate pieces, because if you look here under shadows, these are all separate pieces. There's tons of them. Those are all individual shadows I made all over the place right here on this figure, right? He says in the video, Gertie, turn that off, honey, or go to the stairs. He says in the video that if you turn this opacity down while all the pieces are separate, it'll be messed up. So I did what the dude said, because he says what happens is they're going to go in like layers and some will be darker. It's going to be a mess. So they did what the dude said to do. I went to this thing called Pathfinder right here, Pathfinder, and I clicked on this symbol, click to unite. And and before I did that though, I used this tool, clicked and dragged, make sure all of my pieces are highlighted in the little, lines, went to unite. All the pieces are now one. They're all united and they're all going to change at the same time. I went to opacity and then I turned that opacity down from there. That way you get one consistent area that's dark. Now, he says to do the shadows at around 75%. I did a little lighter, I guess, about 70%. Anywho, next up, okay? I'm going to click out of here. Okay, so the dude now says what you need to do is, and you'll see in his video, he talks about using, and here, I'm going to reselect it. Hang on. He talks about using opacity right here in the properties panel and changing this to overlay, and that will make the colors pop out. But you can see when I do that, it makes the shadows that I did turn into highlights. So, no matter what I did, I clicked on that a bunch of times, couldn't figure out how to do it. So I'm just going to leave my shadows as they are because it's fine enough with me. He says it helps make the colors pop if you use overlay. Try it. I have no clue because for me, no matter what I did, I could not make that work. Now, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to lock the shadows, and you can see all of these are connected. So when I lock them, you know, it locks all of these shadow layers down here. They're locked. I made a new layer here called highlights. Well, you know, it said new layer and I changed that name to highlights. And I'm about to do my highlights. I also made a layer underneath the colors and then used my rectangular marquee to fill it with this blue color because I just thought it looked nice, but it's certainly not important that you do that. So last video is going to be highlights, and then we're finally going to be done with this creature.